All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA show. So what I want to get into with this specific podcast is how to get creative and how important being creative is. Now, I think a lot of us think that creativity is a skill for only certain types of people. And I used to think this as well. I think a lot of people think when you think about people that are creative, it could be people that, create certain things. It could be an architect. It could be a filmmaker. It could be an author. It could be any type of artist, musician, and all these things. And I get it. But the truth is, no matter who you are, I can assure you, you are creative. I've done other videos and I think podcasts where I touched on this very, I guess you could say, not a lot. But in this one, I really want people to understand that, for one, for them to a lot of times get to where they want to be, they have to be creative. Most likely in your life, you have been very creative because a lot of things you wanted to get, you figured out a way on how to create that. To get that, I guess you could say. You created a way, one way or another. Sure, it may not be something artistic, but no matter what, you are living a very creative type lifestyle. You have to be creative to survive. I don't care what age you are either. You learn to create as you go along, and that's what helps you survive. Now, the thing is, I think a lot of times with people, this is just my opinion, we kind of classify people as being positive and negative, right? I don't give a shit which one you are, to be honest with you. And I see very successful people that are positive and negative. So I don't want to hear the bullshit all the time where you're negative. That's why you don't necessarily get what you want. Your negativity is so powerful. All that type of bullshit. I don't want to hear it. And I also don't want to hear that positive people are, always receiving everything they've always wanted. I can assure you that's not the truth by any means. I don't care how positive you are. Again, if you're not creative or negative, brain being negative, if you're not creative, you're not going to get what you want. I mean, it's just the bottom line. I remember being in California with my cousin. I moved there about 10 years ago, maybe longer. And I went there. And me and him love creating things. We always do something. We're always just kind of going back and forth throughout our lives. If I was making a film or even if I was writing a book or whatever he was creating, he is exceptionally creative. If he was doing something with, videos, let's say, for instance, or whatever he was creating for work, and he's done magic. He does all these unbelievable things. And I remember we were sitting back and then he's like, hey, I can't remember specifically what it is. And I was like stumped. And I said, how do we get that? I'll never get that or do that. He goes, you got to get creative. And I remember it hit me right in the face like, yeah, he's absolutely right. Because I always thought I kind of classified things as, again, when I was creating things, being creative was only something that was kind of, again, film orientated, making a film, or I don't care if it's creating a website, creating a program or anything. I never looked at actually becoming creative when it came to going after what I want to go after or figuring out a way how to make it happen. A lot of us too, think it's only one way to do certain things. And the reality is there is no such thing as just one way. Yeah, one way may work, but it may not work for you specifically. You also may not be in that position to make it work, if that makes sense. So maybe you want a home, I'll say, for instance, and you may not have the credit, you may not have a ton of money to put down, but you can figure out maybe other ways to purchase a home. You can maybe do a lease purchase, or maybe, you can figure out certain things sometimes to do that can get you what you want. Again, you have to do your research, but you have to create it. I know I'm going to keep saying that, but, if you don't create the lifestyle you want, and I don't mean to be harsh, how useful are you to yourself? Life really comes down to usefulness. If you're not useful to yourself or your family, it could be your kids at work, what is the value of you? I really think a lot of times we don't think about this. And again, when you go to work, a lot of people, they can definitely get creative when they can figure out a way on how to do less work. A lot of people could get creative on how to manipulate their way into not taking care of their health, or figure out a lot of things that actually, instead of being, kind of positive and helping them from a creative standpoint, they use their creativity as a negative type thing, which I find quite interesting, because a lot of times I think in life, living I guess you could say, like a lazier life is more daunting to me than kind of being energetic. That has nothing to do with fitness. And I know a lot of times I talk about fitness and things, but if you just kind of took care of your health to a certain degree and your wellness just a little bit, compared to just constantly neglecting it, I'll tell you, it's a lot harder to go through life. I used to talk about this a lot when I used to be around people that partied all the time and drank and smoked and all that. And believe me, I smoke cigars, I drink or whatever, but it wasn't excessive. I can assure you, if you go out and get smashed tonight, unless hangovers don't affect you, your next day will be daunting. It will be a lot harder than if I even went and just walked a couple miles, or if I just had one drink instead of 5, or instead of smoking a pack of cigarettes, I just had one. I'm just saying, it's very interesting how people don't realize what they're doing. They're actually creating. And it's actually setting them back, or actually destroying, really a lot of times, what they may want to do or what they may want to become, is what I should say. So this was just something I really want to address, because, I'm always trying to help dudes, for the most part, live an extraordinary life affordably. That's kind of what I want to help people, I think, more now, or do right at this point in time. I love confidence. I try to help dudes with that as well. I try to help guys with trying to find the woman or women of their dreams, even if they've been through a bad breakup or divorce, fitness, wellness, all these different types of things. But all of that cannot be accomplished unless you're creative. I mean, it's just, and again, that doesn't mean you have to be creative from the sense of an artist. You just have to want to create, or figure out ways on how to create the life you truly want to live. Most people don't even know what the hell they want. And I get it. I go through those points in my life off and on all the time. I'll have a great 6 months and then I'm lost. I'm kind of like that right now. So I've been doing YouTube last couple years, and I'm going to take time after the new year to figure out, do I want to keep doing this? I did that with my podcast a few months ago. I quit for a month. I said, if I miss it, I'm going to go back to it. Now, that was after doing it a couple years. But I realized I liked the podcast. And what I didn't like as much, right, were my videos. I think they become redundant. I think they become repetitive. Obviously, same thing to a certain degree. I'm sick of talking about the same subject matters. I just kind of ran out of juice. After doing almost, 550, 600 videos, I covered what I wanted to cover. Now either I have to figure out other things, which I'm sure I can, again, talk about creative. I can create different things. There's no question. But how much time and effort am I really going to put into this? And a lot of times, I don't quit things, I think a lot of times. I usually definitely complete what I go after. And I finish. I am actually, one thing I will say about myself is I don't stop till I feel like I'm done. Officially, like I've gotten the most out of that, and that it is truly completed. I don't care if it's a film, a book, a program, a video, a YouTube channel, podcast, because I've realized over the years you could keep doing shit forever, right, and say, oh, I'm not a quitter, but what am I really getting out of not quitting? So a lot of times it's not even quitting, it's just about saying, I'm done with this chapter, I have fulfilled this journey. It's not like health. That's the one thing I will say that I look as for going forever is taking care of my health, because once my health goes, I go. But I look at each different thing I'm taking on as kind of an adventure or a journey. Next, I'm so nutty, I goof around and call myself the youngest millennial out there, is I may just start doing TikTok and podcasts and see how that goes. I want to do something more comedic, something fun, something short, something, again, simpler. And a lot of times when I do things, I should probably consider making money at what I'm doing, but I'm more about the message, or I guess the fun, than I am about money in life a lot of times. I always say it's more about the message than the money. I kind of ripped that off the Joker in the Dark Knight film, and it was kind of just hit me between the eyes, because that's kind of, I love living my life, kind of having the freedom to go do what I want to do, when I want to do it, with who I want to do it with. So, and I have the mindset, and I guess I am creative, because I usually can go do those things. I figure out a way how to do them. They may not always be at the level I want them to be at, but I get it done and I do it. So I'm going to wrap it up there. If you got any questions or comments, hit me up. And start getting creative, because if you're not creative, if you are stuck in the same place over and over again, it kind of falls on you. Don't expect other people to create the lifestyle that you want. That's kind of ridiculous, unless maybe you're a multimillionaire or you have family, you fall into wealth, or you're a 1%er or whatever, and people keep giving you things, which most of us aren't there. So we have to figure out ways to go after whatever we want to go after. Figure it out. It's on you, nobody else. Also, if you want to check out my YouTube channel, it's my name, Rich CELENZA. I'm also on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. My program is actually called Mastering Self-Confidence. That's masteringselfconfidence.com. And, my website, richcelenza.com. I'm all over the place. All right, take care, and I wish you nothing but the best.